13th of January 2022. Greetings from Rwanda's capital Kigali. Here is what makes our top stories tonight.
The General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies has passed the draft law governing the Rwanda National Police and voted on a draft organic law that sets out the rules to be followed in monitoring the activities of the government.
Following concerns raised by taxi motorcyclists in Kigali city over the challenges they face, including costs of using fare meters, all concerned institutions have now been asked to address the issue.
Some people that have refused to take the COVID-19 vaccine say that they have changed their minds towards it after realizing that their perception or beliefs were blameless.
A very good evening to and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And my name is Martina Avera.
Hi, Martina.
I'm very good. How are you doing tonight?
Very great.
All right. So the General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies has passed the draft law governing the Rwanda National Police and voted on a draft organic law that sets out the rules to be followed in monitoring the activities of the government. The General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies has voted on a draft organic law that determines the criteria for implementing and monitoring the activities of the government, a bill launched by the House Representatives. This is a bill aimed at reconciling the organic law of both chambers of parliament in 2005 with the constitutional amendment of the Republic of Rwanda in 2015, as well as closing many loopholes that prevented members of parliament from properly monitoring the activities of the government. The Organic Law of 2005, which currently governs both chambers of the Rwandan Parliament, did not give the full powers of the individual MP, a group of MPs or members of the Commission to initiate oversight of government activities as provided for in this bill. Other loopholes in the bill include the provision of a way for the Rwandan Senate to implement its joint mandate to monitor the implementation of the basic principles of the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda in order to identify and monitor government activities. Prior to the vote, lawmakers approved a draft law on the Rwanda National Police. Before approving the basis for the bill, lawmakers asked questions and gave their views that will be taken into account when the bill is commenced at the Commission level. They took time to discuss the article that will give the National Police full control over road safety offences in water and railways and the jurisdiction of the local police for other offences when necessary.
Searching property or people is part of the duties that RIB has to perform, just like the law that I had mentioned in the Article 13 clearly states.
On the case of the Rwanda police being given the authority to conduct some investigative work, I wanted to come back to this point because I want to understand the partnership between RIB and the Rwanda National Police. But what I really want to understand, if Honorable Minister can help us out here, whether in the preparation of these projects of the law, they were able to discuss with RIB how they will use this power in an effective way. I was also hoping they would also shed light on the incidents of the escapes. Even before it is made a crime, one would go on to ask, why do they escape in the first place and where do they go? Returning to the issue, the Minister of Internal Security, Alfred Gasana, said the bill is aimed at promoting national security, professionalism in the police force and crime prevention.
We go on to say that in any case of a crime being committed, when there is someone from RIB, well and good, there is no issue at all because it is RIB that initially has the power to do these preliminary investigations. So they can do it and then the police goes on to assist the investigation whilst preserving the security of the nation. However, in any case, RIB hasn't gotten to the scene and a police officer brings the evidence to RIB without tampering with the evidence shouldn't be disregarding just because the police officer didn't have authority. A lot of people are asking why police officers run away or escape their duties and decide to quit. Let me talk about it generally. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, work that has to do with the security service is at times not easy. Someone may join and realize the hardships of it. However, in the code of conduct, there is a specific way that a police officer can be relieved of their duties. For a police officer to make a decision and just leave, it is a crime that is highly punishable.
The work of the General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies on Thursday was done through the use of technology and preceded by the approval of the special term plan.
And moving ahead to other matters, Following concerns raised by taxi motorists in Kigali city over the challenges they face, including costs of using fare meters, all concerned authorities have been asked to address the issue. Sergeant Hode has the report.
We spoke to a number of people in Kigali city who complained bitterly about taxi motorcyclists who find ways to overcharge them using the meter fares installed on their motorbikes. You climb a taxi motorcycle and they purposefully take the long way around. It happened to me when I was going to Nyabugogo, and he did it to increase the fare. This will be the first time I'll be using the meters, and I am not familiar with how they work. I think when properly used, however, they are useful to the country due to taxes, and they should not stop the taxi motorcyclists from making their money. The problem, however, is that neither the taxi motorcyclists nor their passengers seem to agree on how the meters should be used. The fare meters are costing losses for us when we take short trips, and when the trips are long, the passengers are complaining that we are overcharging them. They therefore refuse to let us use the meters when we take them on long trips. The passengers won't let us turn them on, and we are then forced to take them rather than miss out on a chance to make money, only to then get fined by the police because it is off, and yet it is the passengers that won't let us use them. A meeting was organized between the Rwanda National Police, the Rwanda Cooperatives Agency, the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority, and representatives of the different cooperatives of taxi motorcyclists that exist to discuss this and other issues, and it was decided that a task force be formed, bringing together all parties involved to resolve the matter. Every matter should be analyzed and a solution found because we have institutions in charge of all of that. On matters that concern the police, if a taxi motorcyclist feels that they have been wrongfully issued with a traffic violation ticket, they can appeal that decision because we have procedures for that. I believe there should be greater cooperation to make all of this possible. But first and foremost, the taxi motorcyclists should realize that they also have a role to play in addressing these problems, working with other institutions involved. Then there is the problem of misinformation among the taxi motorcyclists when it comes to the fare meters. It has become clear that some of them just do not have the proper information, despite their cooperatives holding general assemblies to discuss these matters. Many of them apparently don't attend them. We have therefore decided to go to them at their parking sites to explain to them how it all works. As for the matter that was raised of high insurance costs, we'll do advocacy on their behalf. Kigali city has around 26,000 taxi motorcyclists currently operating, but as many as 7,000 operate illegally, something all parties concerned say they must address immediately. It was agreed that there is a need to educate them on the benefits of using fare meters, and it was also acknowledged that there is a large number of taxi motorcyclists that operate illegally. We therefore agreed that tomorrow morning, RURA, RNP, RCA, the city of Kigali, and Ferwa Kotamo will consolidate efforts to apprehend anyone riding around without the authorization papers that allow them to do so, things like insurance and driving permits, so that they first meet the requirements before they can be allowed to resume operations. Rwanda currently has more than 180 cooperatives that bring together taxi motorcyclists, and they have 47,000 members.
Thank you, Serge Nore, for the report. On to other matters. Some people that had refused to take the COVID-19 vaccine say they have changed their minds towards it after realizing that their perception or beliefs were baseless and that it is for their good and those around them in terms of mitigating the spread of the virus. Jen Mutoni with more.
At various COVID-19 vaccination sites, some people are just getting their first dose, saying that they had been reluctant to take it due to their religious beliefs.
We relate vaccines to what is written in the book of Revelation, as it states that towards the apocalypse there will be pandemics, and that will be a sign. I just took the first dose and I feel fine.
A Pentecostal church is one of the churches with followers who had refused to get vaccinated for COVID-19. After the death of their head pastor and some of their fellow followers got infected, they say they decided to change their mindset towards the COVID-19 vaccine as their beliefs were bestless.
impungenge twari dufite urabona ari amagambo yo muri Bibiliya.
Our worry was mainly based from what we read about the apocalypse, so we thought this pandemic is a sign. But it didn't take us long to realize that this mindset is wrong, because all the government is doing is to protect the people, and we've seen some people die because of the virus. Now I feel fine and safe because I know that in case I got infected, I wouldn't be critically ill. Right now the plan is to encourage others to get vaccinated as well, and make them realize that this is for the good.
Mbwiraga ko ari bibi ari byiza.
This is also confirmed by the leaders of the church. They say that they are still doing campaigns because some of their members are not yet vaccinated and no longer go to church.
After realizing that there are no bad side effects, we decided to get vaccinated. Those that are attending church are still few because others are yet to be vaccinated. Otherwise, we shall keep on the campaign. A friend of mine got infected, and when I saw him, he was critically ill. And that's when I realized that the virus should be taken seriously. And also, our pastor died because of it, and him passing away broke our hearts. It was a lesson for us, and that's why we decided to get vaccinated in order to combat it.
According to the Ministry of Health, statistics show that as of January 12, 2022, more than 7.8 million Rwandans have already received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and more than 5.8 million people have received the second dose. About 480,000 people have received the booster dose. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jane Mutoni, for the story. Still on the COVID-19 matters, Rwanda's continued fight against COVID-19 and vaccination campaign is in our second studio. My colleague Sam Kalisa is joined by some of the cabinet members to shed more light on it.
Thank you very much, Martina Avera, and you just talked about it. This evening we're joined by the Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije. Honorable Minister, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening.
We're as well joined by the Minister of Local Government, Jean-Marie Vianney Gatabazi. Thank you for joining us, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much.
To begin off, Honorable Minister, there has been different speculations about boosters. One, that a fourth booster shot is going to be administered, and another one that actually the boosters that are being administered are not meant for as booster shots. What do you have to say about it?
I think it was a wrong information from some media because they quote one statement made by a special group of experts from WHO. The whole idea was like for equity access to vaccines. It's better that primary vaccines are given to everybody, and then the booster is given later on. So it was like a call for equity in terms of access to vaccines because we have some countries where even dose 1 and dose 2 are not yet given. It's not fair that maybe in those countries you might find some people getting already the third dose when the majority of the population are not even receiving first and second dose. So it was a call for more equity in access to vaccines.
All right.
But in our case, we are already with more than 77% of people with 2 doses of vaccines. It's time for us to go for a booster dose. And we are making it with, we are close to 500,000 people receiving already their third dose, depending the schedule. Once they do 3 months after dose 2, they are eligible for getting the booster dose. I think that was the misunderstanding behind. Otherwise, the special group from WHO, in that statement, they said that vaccines are still effective, even to Omicron, in terms of reduction of severity of the disease, and it reduced the risk of death. So there are a lot of advantages of getting vaccines, even for Omicron. So the message was very clear. I think it was a wrong interpretation from some media.
And about the fourth dose?
The fourth dose, so far, some countries are giving already the booster dose. Even WHO confirms about it. But for the fourth dose, few countries started to give it, Israel, but they're giving it only to those beyond 60 years old with special condition of comorbidities, etc. Just because when they monitor the trend of antibodies, neutralizing antibodies, at one point there is reduction of those antibodies. For those few people eligible they are eligible for the fourth dose in those conditions.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of being aware that the booster is given in a certain number of conditions. Full stop.
All right. And Honorable Ministers, there are also a matter of a small number of people that are allegedly fleeing the country owing it to the fact that they do not want to get vaccinated. I'll start with you, Honorable Minister Gatabazi. How are you coordinating with other institutions, local government authorities, to make sure that people understand the essence and the importance of getting vaccinated?
Thank you very much. The issue of resisting to vaccination has been observed in different corners of the country. In the beginning, because we are dealing with the mindsets of people, this is about behavior change. So the behavior change is always taking longer if you want to change the mind of someone to understand the real benefit of the vaccines. And we try to make sure that we have time with them to explain the benefits of the vaccines, and even to show them, even in their life, they have been vaccinated when they were younger, they were babies. And the people are coming to take vaccines, even those few who tried to flee the country, they have been returned by their own countries, because in those countries also they are vaccinating. Right. So you can't say, I'm going to Tanzania, I'm going to Burundi, I'm going to DRC. They are vaccinating. Right. So there is no need to fear vaccines, as long as the government has been trying to make sure that everyone is vaccinated. So our responsibility is to mobilize people, to take time with them, and use all platforms that can help us to let people understand the benefits of the vaccines. So we appreciate the role of religious leaders, from the top leadership to the communities. They helped us, even from themselves, going showcasing that they have been vaccinated for the first dose, the second dose, even the third dose, and that helped us to convince the communities to come for vaccination. And the big number has been changing mind, so they received the vaccines.
All right, Minister Ngamishe, on the side of health authorities, how are you making sure that people understand the essence of getting vaccinated and stop fleeing the country just because of this?
I think it's a matter of education, convincing, and they should themselves cross-check around and be aware of what we are saying. As I said, if you compare what happened at the time we were with very low vaccination rate, in July, in January last year, a lot of people hospitalized in very severe conditions, compared to what we are seeing today. It should inform people that we have advantages of being vaccinated. And you can see, as we have the majority of population, especially in Kigali City, vaccinated, you can see that we have very few severe cases. And people can feel it, just some small symptoms, or sometimes you are just positive without any symptom. Right. You are vaccinated, you are protected. You have neutralizing antibodies in your blood. If you are in contact with virus, those neutralizing antibodies, they will work against the virus. Then you will not suffer with any severe symptom just because you are well protected with those neutralizing antibodies. It's science, nothing, it's complicated, and it's not the first time that we are getting people vaccinated. All of us, we have been vaccinated since we are young. In our calendar for vaccination, we are giving 12 types of vaccines, and some of them we are giving 4 times, dose 1 up to dose 4. It's only one type of vaccine among those 12 where we are giving only one vaccine, 1 doses. For the rest, it's 2 or 3 or 4 vaccines that doses that we are giving as a booster, from dose 1, dose 2, dose 3 up to dose 4. So nothing is new, for sure. Right. So people should just be informed. They should not be misled by those bringing rumors, confusing people. In Europe, people are vaccinated for flu every year. So it can happen in Africa that having people vaccinated for COVID more than 2 times, 3 times, it can happen. Nothing is new. There is nothing in relation with the end of the world, etc., etc. Nothing.
Right. Minister Gatabazi, different people in different institutions regarding hesitancy in terms of acquiring the vaccines have, continued to become hesitant to get the vaccines. How are the rights of these people going to be respected, but at the same time fight for the health of other people in the country in general?
Rights of people has limits, because your right, my right. If I'm vaccinated, you are not vaccinated, you don't have right to come and to infect me. That is the real sense of things. Now, we have given them time to think about that. Those who were refusing, at the end, they changed their mind. The minds that they come for vaccination. Those who refused categorically, they signed to resign from their jobs. That is putting themselves on risk of their life. But for others who are still hesitating, the right to have services in different in restaurant, bar, taxis, minibus, in transportation. So they have to remember that we don't have to expose others who are vaccinated.
Right.
So we tell them to go for vaccination first, then go to benefit the services. Actually, we are calling upon all religious leaders and the other who are owning the services to remember to ask the card of vaccination before giving service to those people who are coming to them.
All right. And finally, Honorable Minister Ngamije, as we speak, a door-to-door census is being carried out to assess the rate of vaccination for those who took the first, second, and also the third dose. How is this going to help the country in terms of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic?
We just want to make sure that no one is left behind for different reasons, being beliefs reasons or any reason. We want to make sure that everybody is vaccinated, because our target is to reach 70% of those above 12 years old by June. And if we reach this target of 70%, it's like we are in condition where, for sure, even with a new variant, we might expect again very few people in hospitals, and then we continue life. I think people are very happy. Parents are very happy to have kids returning at school, rather than keeping them at home, fearing that maybe there will be a huge increase of contamination, death. No.
All right.
If the government was able to decide to get schools reopening in January, it's because we can see that we are getting benefits of being vaccinated.
All right.
So we should keep that standards, making sure that everybody is vaccinated and we are ready to face any new variant.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Minister. And thank you, Minister Gatabazi.
Thank you very much.
And that was it for our interview. Over to you, Martina.
Thank you very much, Sam, for that very informative interview. Now, members of the Rwanda's Private Sector Federation have asked that special funds to be set up to support seed multiplication efforts in the country. Earlier today, our colleague Jean-Pierre Karabo sat down with Francois Nsengiyumva, who heads the Chamber of Farmers in the Federation, to speak to him about this and other relevant matters.
The local seed company that we have here in Rwanda, they are really very, very young. They are very, very young, but they are doing very well. They are doing very well in terms of seed production. And if I give you figures from last year, they have been capable to produce hybrid maize seeds about 6,000 metric tons in Rwanda. And from those, around 4,500 tons they have been used last year. So you see there are some company which I still have in the store some quantities around 1.5 thousand metric ton. That is not easy, because that is a lot of money which are sleeping in the stores. So the progress so far is very good. It's very good, and the achievement that they made in the last 2 years, it is very, very, very interesting. What we need is to sustain it. So how to be able to sustain it, we need in-house technical assistance in each company to be able to develop capacities, of variety maintenance. It's not easy. Variety development is not easy. So you cannot call a seed company like that without having that capacity to develop its own variety and variety maintenance. They are very, very critical, and that we need really to develop that to make those companies sustainable. In addition to that, we need also a kind of working capital. You see, the seed industry, to be involved in the seed industry requires to have a very good capital, and that capital is not available. So we would like to ask all partners in the government to establish a revolving funds related to seed, hybrid maize seed production. That will allow us as seed companies to be able to borrow money easily, to be able to pay back, and we can even contribute. You can say, okay, 10% at 1 kilo sold can go and contribute to grow that revolving fund. We want to recognize two partners. One is Rwanda Agriculture Board. They did a very good research. They developed some planting material that helped us to go quickly for production. That's very, very important. It's a very good effort, and we would like to ask them to keep the momentum and develop other varieties, give us to us, and be able to produce the needed seed in at the local market. The other partner that we would like to recognize in this here is Agra. Agra, with its partners, they have been capable to provide us technical assistance and financial support. That is very, very important. As a young company, it helped us to grow up very fast. And we congratulate them, and we enjoy that support because it helped us to speed up what we were supposed to do. And now we are moving ahead, surely, and we will be able to continue.
Pearl Essence Africa, a Nigerian company in partnership with Rwanda Lab, have organized trainings that aim at empowering young people, especially girls, and to engage in robotics and artificial intelligence technology. 30 girls are expected to be trained.
The number of youth we have in our country, the girls are still few in technology and also even in hardware. So we need to call them up to come in and take their training. They have even opportunity because we are working with a Nigerian organization which is going to help girls to take that courses for free in the coming month.
More than $3,000 will be spent on trainings to cover all expenses. Agustina Uhali, the founder of Pearl's Essence Africa, has noted that they expect good results from the trainings.
Would be that we will have more girls in this robotics and artificial intelligence. We also have them solve, not just having them have the certificates that they were trained, but having them solve issues. Artificial intelligence isn't something to be scared of as a lady. I mean, if we have seen that there are things that help us to manage our times. It isn't something that is going to scare that is going to take people out of jobs. No, it is something that would even make jobs and life easier. So if you're a young girl and you feel like, oh, I don't think the robot thing is for me, there is the hardware, there is the software. You can be part of the people that are coding the softwares. You can also be part of the people, if you enjoy doing a lot of hands-on things, you can also be part of the girls that would be creating the hardwares.
And we say on behalf of the entire news and technical team that helps us to bring to you tonight's news, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And my name is Martina Evera.
Goodbye.
And stay safe.